The other one, Ryan, the other striker that's been mentioned a lot over the last few days is Hibs striker Kieron Bowie. Now he scored at the weekend, and Hibs draw with Motherwell. I think that's now 11 goals for the season all in. I've actually, I've heard, and this is just on social media, so it might be rubbish, but Hibs have put a price tag around £6 million on him. Is he someone that you would look to and think could fill the void?
Yeah, for me, the days of Celtic and Rangers cherry picking players from rival Scottish clubs for buttons, £2-3 million, I think they're gone. I think Hibs know that they can hold out for £6-7 million, and the Celtic and Rangers aren't willing to pay it. Then an English Championship club will stump up the money, because it's, again, even in England's second tier, that's not a lot of dough. For me, I'm not too sure about Kieron Bowie, I've got to be honest, and I know this might be kind of against the grain. I think if you're going to rely upon Kieron Bowie to spearhead the Celtic's title charge, I'm just not so sure that he's the best fit at this stage of the season. If you look at his record, he scored, I think it's 15 goals and 50 appearances for Hibs, and I know he's had his injury problems, but the numbers aren't that impressive. I get it. He's got loads of potential, and I don't doubt that he will develop into a top quality player. But for me, that's the key word: develop. I think he's at a very much a development stage at the minute, and I'm not so sure if it would be fair to sign him for £6 million when there'd be so much added expectation on his shoulders with that price tag as well, and to throw him into the deep end and expect him to score 10-15 goals between now and the end of the season for Celtic. I'm just not so sure that would be the best route to go down. Look, I think Celtic need to go for two strikers at an absolute minimum. So if he's to come in and maybe it's a second choice striker, then fine, that could be an option. But if you're going to be spending that amount of money, for me, I think Celtic be looking for him to come in as first choice. So there's no doubt, as I say, just to stress, I think he's a talented boy. He ticks a lot of boxes which Celtic are looking for in a player. He's Scottish, he's 22, he's got bags of potential. But at this stage in the season, and for what Celtic are looking for, I just feel as if they need I think they need a safer bet up front. That's just my opinion.
Graeme, to be honest, I kind of agree with Ryan. Like, he is 23, Kieron Bowie, so he's not a kid anymore. But I think, as you mentioned with Callum Wilson, Celtic needs someone who's ready-made, in his 30s probably. He's been and done it. Who's going to score goals. And, I don't blame Martin O'Neill or Sean Maloney for this, by the way. I mean, they've been thrown into this like everyone else. But I don't know what you think of Kieron Bowie, Graeme, but I'm not sure he would be the man, certainly for this window.
Yeah, I think in a healthy environment, he's a great 1-2 punch as well. And I know he plays the way Hibs play. There's more players up the middle, but I think he'd be a great sub, wouldn't he? Yeah. But that, as you say right now, Celtic, it's been a year since trying to replace Kyogo. I think buying Kieron Bowie to be a super sub's a bit outlandish at present, but he would. I think if you could find a number 9 that plays every week. I love how he's really good at kind of, it's not that kind of just like hard work, it's more than that. It's like he just ragdolls the fit when he's on it. He's really good at kind of, and it's not just he's got real skill. His hold up play is genuinely decent as well, and he's a confidence player. I think that kind of exposure, Celtic really do need that as well. So they're going to put their money. See if Celtic could only sign 2 players, 2 strikers would be, to me, because then that moves my either back off. And I know other areas badly need, but just to give them a legitimate threat game to game up top would be a massive thing. But I'm a fan. I get the point that both you and Ryan are making. I think they're valid points. But to me, he seems a player that is going to play his trade at kind of a high level. $6 million doesn't seem a ridiculous fee to pay. I know some it would, but that's the going rate for a young striker that's been capped by his country. Right. Sometimes maybe is there an argument that you'd actually be doing Scottish football help raising the price? Is that not good for business? I don't know, but I do like him. I just think, as we say, I think there needs to be a proper option, and then the Bowie. But you can see why Bowie's on everybody's radar. I think teams at the top of Championship as well are all over him as well. So we'll wait and find out how that one plays out.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he'd be better than what they've currently got at the minute, and as Graeme said...
You don't want that, it's that he's the man and everything's on him. And
exactly.
I don't think that suits him either. I don't think he is, but he isn't. He's not going to score 8 goals in 3 games. He's not a. He's more. He's quite a European striker. You could see him in Serie A in one of these teams, and I'm seeing it. I think he plays like that. Like, he's very languid at times, and then other games he's really on it. I think he's a proper player, but he's not that Johnny goals in front of goal, is it? It's got to score every week. He's just got a different style in the way he plays. So
if Celtic could somehow get him and Callum Wilson, I think that would be two very good additions.
Yeah, I think the Callum Wilson one's an interesting one, and I think just about everybody would probably take him if it was on a free transfer. The only thing I would say about Callum Wilson is his injury record. Celtic have already got Iheanacho, who's only played a handful of games, can't stay fit. They've got obviously Johnny Kenny, who has been able to stay fit but just can't score goals. So the Callum Wilson one, although on the face of it might look as a no risk signing if you get him on a free and pay him a decent wage, whether it be a 6-month contract or 18 months contract, if you're bringing him in and then Kieron Bowie, if Callum Wilson does get injured, then you're looking at Bowie to be to again lead the line. So you're back to that square one that I was talking about just a few moments ago. So I don't know. I just feel for me, I think Kieron Bowie will go on to become, to play at a high level. I think Graeme makes a great point as well. I think he needs to go to a healthy environment. At the minute, I'm not so sure that Celtic is the place for him to go at this stage of the year. Maybe in the summer, I think there's going to be to me, it's inevitable. There's going to be a massive rebuild at Celtic in the summer. You're probably looking at a rebuild, like it was when Ange first came through the door.